Welcome back. I'm excited and not excited. It's kind of this good news and bad news combination, but my nose is crooked. When JT, my youngest, was about 18 months old, he plowed over the couch right into my face, and the pain was intense and so fast. It was like something just cracked my skull open. And I remember he cried and I cried, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna have a bloody nose. So I had my hand up against my face, and it didn't bleed, which kind of surprised me. But I was like, okay. And as the pain started to lessen, I picked him up, and I'm like, it's okay, accidents happen. And I was like, oh my gosh, my face hurts. So I got an ice pack, and I went to the doctor, and I said, hey, I think he broke my nose. And he said, nah, I don't think he broke your nose. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, it's fine. I said, but I'm just worried that he broke my nose. No, it's fine. You didn't break your nose. So I said, be home. The next morning I woke up and both of my eyes were completely black underneath here. I mean, it looked like I had been punched, completely black. And so I didn't have a bloody nose because it all bled under the skin. At the same time, a friend of mine had died, and I needed to go to the funeral. And so we went to the funeral, which was actually in Chicago, and it was devastating. She was young and she died in childbirth with her sixth child, and it was awful. It was awful. And after the funeral was over, the person who had been officiated at the funeral, I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but he came up to me and he said, can I talk to you? And I was like, okay. And he goes, are you being hurt? Do you need help? And I was like, yes, domestic violence from my 18-month-old. I said, no, it was an accident, and no, it's fine. And I also had to renew my driver's license around the same time. So I also have that memory of the nice black eyes. So a lot of things happened right around this time too. So I didn't get back to the doctor. He told me it wasn't broken anyway. A few months later, I was like, when the swelling kind of dissipated, I was like, my nose is crooked. So I went in and I said, my nose is crooked. I think it's broken. And the guy's like, yeah, it's not. Just push on it. I was like, it hurts to touch it. He's like, just push on it. I was like, okay, I don't have time for this, bozo. I don't have time for any of this right now. And so I didn't go back. 2009, I was having a really hard time breathing. So I went to an ENT, and he went up into my nose. And he said, oh, your septum is deviated. Yes, your septum's deviated. You probably need to have some surgery. And I said, okay. Because what was that all entail? He's like, well, you'd probably be a lot of problems for 3 months because of swelling, and it'll take about a year altogether. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I don't have time for that right now. That's fine. My nose can be crooked. I don't have time for that. I can not breathe great. Well, fast forward to 2022, and I said to my doctor in December when I had my year checkup, I said, I really can't breathe very well. I said, this side of my nose is always so stuffed up that I have a hard time breathing. I said, I didn't mind the masks because I could put those on, and I became a mouth breather, which I don't want to be on a normal basis. And, but I couldn't breathe. So I finally, I was like, I'm snoring, I can't breathe. I wake myself up, because I can't breathe. He said, okay, well, we'll get you to an ENT. I said, okay. So I went in 2 weeks ago, and they went up inside my nose again. And she said, oh, your nose is all sorts of messed up. I guess these little things that heat and humidify the air on the sides of your nose, mine are extremely large. And then I have a bone spur somewhere on this side. And so it's hard to breathe on both sides. Just this side's worse. So she referred me to a doctor, ENT, at Mayo Clinic in Rochester. So he called me and said, hey, let's just come up so I can get an idea of when we can put you on the books and what we're talking about. So I went up this last week up to Rochester, and I saw him, and he looked in my nose and did a lot of, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna have to open the nose right here. He goes, and go inside and straighten it. Because if we don't straighten it, we can't get the inside straight. Because I guess it's just all sorts of messed up. So he put a little tool, and he said, okay, do you see, it was sort of like eyes, A, B. He put this little tool up and he said, can you tell if you can breathe any better? I was like, not the same. He put a little tool up in here, and it was like somebody had opened a air tunnel. I was like, oh my gosh, I can breathe. It's amazing. He's like, yeah, we got a lot of problems in there. So he's hoping to get me on the books for June, which would be fine. And but then he kind of scared me. That's why it's kind of like good and bad. He said I'll have these tubes up my nose at first and a tape over my nose to remind me not to do anything. It's not like a cast, but it'll be a reminder. I can't wear glasses. I have to get something to make the glasses sit up on my cheeks, not on my nose. And he says it'll take a good long time. He goes back to work in a week. I said, oh, I don't work right now, so it's not a problem. He said a few weeks and you'll, take them out. And he goes, but then it'll be about 3 months before you're like, oh, okay, things are good. And he says about a year before all the swelling goes down and things get back to what they're gonna be. I was like, that's a long time. He also told me that I guess that my nose dents in quite a bit right here, so they need to open that up, which I told him kind of concerns me because my nose is already big enough. And he said, yeah, it's kind of boxy, but that'll help you breathe better. He goes, I wish I could tell you we could make it smaller. He goes, but the goal here is functional. And so smaller will not make it functional. I just hope he doesn't make it bigger. I don't want it to be bigger necessarily. But then I'm like, I'm 53. Who am I trying to impress anymore? Being able to breathe is a pretty important thing. So I guess functional is more important than the way it looks, than cosmetic. And so it's good and it's bad. Kind of scares me to have a nose job, but it's just functional. And I did read about someone, I might have mentioned this in a previous video, that had their septum fixed and their nose straightened and it stopped their dystonia. To me, I'm like, that would be too much of a dream. Too much of a dream. Now, if it lessened my dystonia, that'd be fantastic too. But yeah, so that's where I'm going, hopefully, real soon, even though it's kind of scary and I'm a little worried just because I'm not sure what he means by pushing this out and then moving everything back. He did a lot of, like I said, and it was like, okay. But he said, yeah, I should get it in as soon as possible and get it done. So that's where I'm heading. I'm gonna have a functional rhinoplasty so that I can breathe again, and crossing my fingers, somehow it'll help lessen my dystonia just a little bit, because it's not bad most of the time. It's just when I get nervous, when I get upset, it gets bad, and it would be nice to have it a little less, it'd be great. But if not, at least I will be able to breathe. So, hey, thanks for stopping by. Please like this video and subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet. And let me know what's going on in your life. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much.